Can you close the door? There you go.
So you got like a huge guy in a tracksuit in there, just like slinging watches online?
Kind of something like that.
Where can I get
It's
one
not
of
drugs. It's watches. Definitely watches. All right.
Okay, let's start.
Let's start.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Very obviously, this is not my office. I'm visiting my good friend Adam Golden of Menta Watch fame on YouTube, and actually, basically, he's going to help me with some vintage watches. You're a foremost expert, or at least that's what they say.
Expert.
In vintage. And you also started a YouTube channel. So I'm actually here to see if you can make me a little money.
Let's try.
But also figured, why not shoot a video?
Let's shoot a video. We'll shoot a couple videos, right?
Shoot a couple videos. So guys, if you like this content, link to Adam's channel in the description below. Go give him a subscribe. He makes really good content, mainly focusing on the vintage aspect, which, as you guys know, I am, very far from knowledgeable on.
You know a little bit. You're not useless.
I mean, I know enough to get myself in trouble, which is why I sell you 80% of my vintage.
But listen, that goes the same for a lot of the modern stuff that I get in. How often is Jordan texting you like, "Hey, we have no idea what this is or what to pay for it. How much would you like to offer and would you like to buy it, sir?" And you do. We sell you a ton of stuff because people know what they know and they don't what they don't. I like to stay in my lane. We specialize in vintage, and that's what we know very well. While we do sell some modern, it's generally like 5% of our business.
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, of course.
So we do this on my channel a lot, Adam. We're going to do the wristwatch check.
Okay.
So today I'm wearing my Moser Perpetual Moon Phase with the Aventurine dial. You guys know it's one of my favorite watches.
Watch is insane.
You like it?
I've never seen it in person. That watch is insane.
Yeah.
What a gorgeous dial.
I adore it. It's just one of those things where I saw it on a website and I'm like, crap, I got to spend 40 grand now, don't I?
So, and you know what? It's funny because I'm a huge fan of their watches, but it's kind of like one of those like don't meet your heroes kind of thing. Well, in this case, I actually had dinner with the head guys at Moser while I was at Watches and Wonders last year in 2023. And it only made me want to buy their watches more. Like, such a great team.
Cool dudes.
Such great people, so welcoming, so natural, so nice, so passionate about their watches. Like, I really can't say enough good things.
And it shows in their products.
Absolutely.
But what are you wearing, more importantly?
So this is not a Moser. This is not a modern watch. This is a vintage Daytona with an exotic dial, also known as the Paul Newman dial. This is a reference 6241 black dial with a black Bakelite bezel. Okay. I just got it in, actually, so I'm excited. I put it on my wrist.
What year is it?
This one is 1971,
so
off the top of my head.
Pump pushers, if
Pump pushers, correct. Yeah.
What is something like that?
No, sorry, 1968, 69? I don't remember the serial off the top of my head.
What does something like that go for retail?
So this one we're going to be listing because of the condition. The condition is absolutely spectacular. Perfect dial, perfect lume, perfect bezel. Just spectacular watch. We won it in a small auction house in Germany, just like a fresh watch. We're going to be listing it for $315. Now,
$315,000.
Correct, not dollars.
That is why I don't deal in vintage.
Yeah, it's listen, these watches, they've been expensive for a while, and that's why markets go up, markets go down. Vintage has taken a hit, just like modern watches have taken a hit. Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about that soon.
So that's actually what I want to talk about. I mean, I do, and I'm sure some people are sick of my market updates. Right. But I figured you're here, you sell more vintage than almost anyone I know. Mm-hmm. Why don't we talk a little bit about what do you think is going to happen in 2024? I'll give you my modern take, and you can tell me what you think is going to happen in the vintage market.
Let's hear your modern take, and I'll
broad strokes.
And I'll give you my take.
So, I mean, I'm going to say a few things a lot of you know. The market's taken a little bit of a hit. Right. Particularly the hype models. Rolex is tanking, AP, and even the things that like latched onto the hype models, like a Vacheron Overseas was never hype, but it became hype.
It became hype, yeah.
Because of the Nautilus.
Well, I think it was also like people were gravitating towards these major brands and their sports models. So that's their sports model, And
a lot of people are saying it's crashing, but I don't. I'm saying it's a correction. I think we're just going back to where Pre-COVID, maybe not even all the way there. We're going to settle right above pre-COVID pricing. And I've seen the the downward trend slow down. I actually see it evening out right now.
I was just going to interrupt you and say, like, listen, I don't sell enough modern to really keep that big of a stranglehold on the situation, but I've noticed, because I had to quote, for example, some people for 5711, 5712, and over the past several months, every time I get a quote for one of those watches, whether it's a Daytona, Nautilus, Aquanaut, whatever, the prices have been pretty much the same for several months now.
They've settled.
Settled,
yeah.
right.
They've settled. You know, I think we still have a little capacity to maybe drop a tiny bit, but we're not in free fall. And like a lot of people are going to accuse me, like, oh, you just wanted to sell us watches. I mean, just look at Chrono 24.
Right.
Like, I think it is.
You don't have enough inventory to really to fix the market.
No, I don't. But,
Right.
But I think right now is not a bad time to sell or buy a watch.
Right.
It is as stable as it's been
And
for the past 4 years.
But listen, I think it's getting back to a place where people are buying watches because they want to, not just because it's like, oh, this is an asset and it's going to go up in value. You know, now like
or
if you're
because they got some PPP money.
right, but now if you're buying a Nautilus because you actually want it, great. You know what? And if you wear that watch for a year and say the price drops another 10%, that's your cost of ownership.
Yeah.
And that's how it used to be 5+ years ago. You know, it used to be you bought a watch and you expected to lose money. I just bought for myself an MB&F LM101 at full-blown retail. I don't think I could sell it for what I paid right now, owning it for a week. And I don't care.
But here's
I
the
wanted
thing.
the watch.
As a watch collector,
Right.
I do that too. This,
Right.
I will never be able to sell this for what I paid for it, but it's okay because this is not a business decision.
Right.
This is a Federico wanted that watch
Exactly.
decision. You know, so we lose money all the time too in our personal collections. However, if I'm buying something for stock, equation dictates that I can't take a loss.
Yeah, I'm
Or I
happy to
shouldn't.
take a loss in my personal collecting just because it doesn't have anything to do with the business, really.
Yeah.
Exactly. If we take too many losses on the business end, we won't be in business.
To be
for
in
very long,
business,
right?
yeah. And of course, the business funds my personal collecting.
Right. That's why I got started selling watches.
So I think we're stable, and I think a lot of brands didn't get caught up in things like the Omegas of the world. You might know I love GP.
Right.
Those have remained relatively stable. I just think the big 3 or 4 AP, Rolex, Patek, could see a little shrinkage still in the price.
The
but-
Richard Milles of the world too. That stuff.
Richard
yeah.
Mille, oof.
You know?
Oof. Yeah, sore subject. I'm not
Listen,
a fan.
I think it's a good thing the prices went down. And I explained to people, I'm like, listen, you know, when I have a client call me and they're upset because their watch is worth less than they paid, I'm like, listen, I've got millions in inventory. You know, what do you think happened to me when the price is correct? Like, if your watch went down, so did mine. You know, we're all on equal footing when it comes to, you know, prices appreciating or depreciating. You know, they all happen at the same time for everybody equally.
Sure.
So everybody's losing money. But it's not just watches. It was cars. It was art. It was the housing market. It was crypto. It was stocks. It was everything.
But also, when did watches become solely about money?
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember.
That's why I like vintage too, because you have to really be passionate about some of these watches to buy them. And I like independent watches too. For example, you have to be really passionate about them. Like I was at IWJG yesterday, a dealer trade show, wearing my LM101, my MB&F LM101. The amount of people who asked me, what is the watch? I had no clue what it was. So, oh, it's an MB&F. What's an MB&F?
What's an
Was
MB&F?
absolutely mind-boggling. I was like, all right, I thought you guys were dealers,
no one
you know?
deals in that.
You
I
have
mean, I deal in, but
to
like
spend the kind of money I spent on that watch out of my own pocket because I love the watch. You have to really be into the watch, you know, and you have to you don't really care if you're going to lose money a little bit because most of the times you will, you know.
but,
so I think it's a good thing.
in the long run, it all evens out.
Yeah.
It all evens out.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my take on where modern's going. I didn't say anything secret. Like it's pretty obvious. But is vintage any different? Do you see something else happening?
No, a lot of the trends were the same. So we had massive surges in prices in vintage Nautilus, vintage Royal Oak, a lot of vintage Daytonas, a lot of the same hype pieces that are modern, same in the vintage world. A lot of them have come down. I haven't seen quite as big of correction. So for example, let's say, just to use a quick example off the top of my head, 5711, let's say at their peak were 200 grand. Now they're, let's say, around 100, if I'm right. I think I'm within that margin of error. At their peak, and obviously with vintage, you're talking, there's a lot of different factors. You know? It's not just year, it's condition, it's dial variant, it's this, it's that. So but let's say at their peak, they were, you know, 175 grand for a basic steel one. At their absolute peak, now they're maybe $120. You know, so it wasn't quite 50%, but it was a significant drop off.
Well, let's give our viewers some good news. In your opinion, if I had to say, Adam, putting you on the spot here, What watch do you think has some room to grow? Just in your opinion, like Datejust, pole routers, what?
Going back to this watch, for example, though, like I'm asking $315,000. You'd think, oh, the market corrected. Why are you asking so much money? The Paul Newman market has been steadily increasing for the past 20 years. It never went like this. It never went exponential. It's just been steadily increasing. And because of that, it never really got a huge bump during COVID hype pricing. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. So this watch market didn't really correct itself. It just kind of stayed the same. 4-digit Daytonas in general have remained pretty constant. It was actually pretty stable. I guess it was your safest bet if you bought some. And that, again, same as what you're saying. I don't have enough stock to say that to manipulate the market.
Yeah.
Like
you have one piece.
I've got maybe 4 in stock. Four, but not all Newmans. I'm saying just in general, 4-digit Daytonas.
What do you think is undervalued?
So well, going back to your question, I think room to grow. I like a lot of the vintage Cartier plays because I know Cartier's on such a popularity uptick right now, and you'd say, oh, it's hype, but first wristwatch ever made, and they made a lot of different really cool stuff, and they're really hard to find.
They deserve it as well.
Really, yes, but they're really hard to find, so it's not like that market can be manipulated. If you're looking for an original Centre, for example, in platinum, maybe you'll find 5 of them that were ever found in the market.
Well, but also some of them were made in New York, some of them were made in London, some of them were made in Paris. They were all different companies at one point or something.
But they made but also they made a lot of different models that are not crazy expensive, like Cientour. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it's like an octagonal shape.
I know.
A lot of the different tanks, and stuff like that, where you could still get them at a reasonable price point. They've gone up a lot, but even still reasonable, and I think there's room to go, especially if you look out for certain dials, like you said, Paris dial or this or that. I still think Speedmasters are a strong play. I think they're down right now. A lot of the Speedmaster fiasco that happened a couple years ago really hurt the market. And I think at the end of the day, though, they're absolutely legendary and historically important watches.
Well, like Cartier, they've got that mythical aura about them, which is why they can never go. They'll never crash because Cartier is Cartier.
Right.
I
think you're going to see a lot of renewed interest in Universal Genève because of Breitling buying the brand.
You see that as a good or a bad thing?
I think it's a great thing.
Do you?
Yeah, I think. Well, listen. The brand has been laying kind of defunct for a long time. Some people in China own it and would issue archives and not really do anything with it. I think if Breitling does it right, I think time will tell.
Can I tell you what I'm afraid of?
What are you afraid of?
That they're going to take their current movements, which I love, Breitling B0 movements, whatever, they're great. They're going to take them, they're going to slap them into UG cases, but everything's going to be 44 millimeters because the movements are so big.
Well,
I'm scared they're just going to put Breitling movements in a UG package.
We'll see, because to buy that brand, you have to understand that you're appealing to a demographic of watch nerds. The general public has never heard of Universal Genève. Only people who know about this brand are people who genuinely love watches. It's one of my favorite brands. I think if they're going to do that and try to do that and make a 44 millimeter crappy watch, whatever, no one's going to buy it. No one's going to buy it.
I just hope they're listening because I want them to do it right.
I think they are. I think they have enough people on their team that understand the task at hand.
Because it's not cheap. They've got to develop smaller movements or they've got to use vintage movements.
I heard they paid a big price. I think it was public, but I think they paid a big price for UG. It was tens of millions of dollars.
I mean, it's just, but as a watch geek, I love the news. I mean, I woke up and I saw that article. I'm like, this is great. But then my mind automatically went to the dark place of what are they going to do with it?
I think time will tell. I think there's no way to know now. I have hope that they could do it right, and I think if anybody can, they can, because they've done so many successful and awesome recreations of their vintage watches, doing them absolutely well.
The Navitimer 803.
A lot of different ones that they did absolutely great. So I think if anybody can do it, has the capacity to do it, it's Breitling. We'll see.
All right. Well, Adam, I guess we're gonna shoot your video now, and you're gonna.
Yeah, you haven't even showed me the watches you brought to show me.
We're gonna keep that on your video because you do a segment, And so if you guys want to see those watches, go to my video description. Check out Menta Watches YouTube channel. Link in the description below. We're gonna continue this over there, guys. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for sitting down.
And we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.